So, welcome to DL Live, everybody. My name is Richard Terrell. I go by Kirby Kid, and Design Oriented is a group where we do websites, blogs, we have a Discord, streams like this every day, and videos of these streams that go up on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is by the same name. Our Twitter's at Design Oriented, and you can find our Discord link on the Twitter. So, one-stop shop, keeping up with everything that we do. Twitter and Discord are the two best places. Interesting fact. I need another Pokemon fact. At one of the Pokemon tournament sort of national conventions they had back in pretty much 1999-2000, a while ago, they had a side contest of who could recite the entire Pokemon rap. And even though I didn't know the whole thing, you know, they didn't catch me mumbling somewhere around the Slowbro section. And I won a hat. And I don't think I've seen this hat anywhere else. I don't think you can buy it. So it's like my little Pokemon trainer hat. I still have it to this day. It's black with a red Pokeball on it. So that's one of my favorite hats. And I've been doing Pokemon for a long time. In the previous streams, we talked about RPG elements, we talked about strategy games, we talked about depth and what makes strategy games deep. And then we talked about, in the last stream, what makes Pokemon deep as a strategy game. And we touched on a few things of how Pokemon gets around some of the pitfalls that a lot of RPGs have when trying to make their combat tactical or deep. I don't really think even most RPG combat's tactical. It's really just a pretty familiar, straightforward optimization, like a simple equation that you do over and over. But the thing that Pokemon gets right, and right off the bat, and designs its entire battle system around, it's a double blind turns. Doing your move on your turn, the opponent does their move, and then you see what happens. That's a big deal. And we're going to see just how that shapes strategy in these few replays that I have. So I'm going to click over, and we'll get started. Oh, spoiler. I won the match. Is this even the right replay? Okay, I think it is. So let's instant replay. Let's do that. Where's my controls? Battle options. Where's my pause? I can't even pause this? What is this? I'm gonna reload this replay. Stop. Oh, so this is the last battle I just did. My bad. These are the replays. So here, let's zoom in just a little bit more, is the first battle we're gonna take a look at. Let me see what's happening over here and here. Okay. So, I don't think you guys need to see the chat on the side, but this is pretty much it. So we're going to start off, this is random Pokemon battles. You get a random team, your opponent can't see your team, and they just shove one of your starter Pokemon out in the field in front of your face. So you just kind of have to play with what you get. Your teams may not have a lot of synergy, but it's pretty fun to And we are not going to do that. Get more content flags from YouTube. Music off, please. I wonder what the dark theme looks like. Better? Worse? So, one thing we're gonna take a look at loops and strategy, and how, even though in Pokemon, each of your Pokemon have hit points, and you usually the hit points go down and down without much of an ability to recover unless you have a very specific type of Pokemon or a setup. We're gonna look at how mistakes carry forward over time, and how situations become familiar as similar situations keep reappearing, and what both of us as players do in those situations. So it opens up, this is my Slurpuff, I'm roll you downtown. This is a quote from Hey Arnold, when it was the end of the Stoop Kid Afraid to Leave His Stoop episode, where he jumps off the stoop and then Harold gets all freaked out and he's like, I'm gonna roll you downtown, fat boy. That's where this name comes from. You guys got to know your history. It's very important. So we both switch out on the first turn. Not confident either of us that the Pokemon that we randomly got to start is a decent start. So we both switch out. My Pokemon here is a Psychic type. His Pokemon's a Fighting type. Fighting types are weak to Psychic types. So he went ahead and tried to hit me with Stone Edge. Stone Edge, this move over here, has a high crit rate. I wonder if I can... Yeah, so like he got the crit. It would have done 32 damage instead. So then I just blast him with the Psyshock back and I take his Pokemon. So he decides to trade basically half my life for that. Then he brings in his Psychic Pokemon. It Leaf Storms, drops its own special attack. I throw up my Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks is a really important move because every Pokemon they switch in takes just a little bit of damage. And when otherwise a situation a lot of players can just switch and switch and switch for free, Stealth Rocks kind of ensure that every move you make, even if it's switching, costs something. So the game's going to progress to some kind of a finish. And then he U-turns, which is a nice move to scout which Pokemon that I have and which one I bring out. Obviously, if I switch out, that has higher priority. My Pokemon comes out first. His Pokemon comes out next, or he U-turns and then sees which Pokemon I brought out, and then he can bring out whatever. He brought out Tropius. I thought this was a really weird move because Tropius kind of sucks. So I sub in Tropius' face. He tries to Toxic me. That's a classic terrible move. It's a terrible feeling to be on the other end of that. This substitute blocks all status, which is kind of cool how every Pokemon in the game has access to like a certain core set of moves. One of them being Rest, the other one being Sleep Talk. For the most part, and then Substitute and Toxic, Protect, and I think there's a few others, but those moves really help the game give every Pokemon a little bit of a surprise factor, and if you get the read right, or you have enough speed, or they switch out, you can really get some good advantages when otherwise certain Pokemon would be too weak. He protects, I Flamethrower, so he's scouting out which move I'm going to do. He knows I have a fire move now, so he gets out of there. And then I'm not going to Flamethrower twice. He's obviously going to get out of there. So I went with a move that is Fairy type. And his Water type doesn't resist Fairy. So that was kind of good on my part. Sometimes right when you see that they see what you see, you have to play different. And that was just a basic, like... That was just a basic switch up on my end. Because no matter which attack I do, I'm going to do damage. So I might as well not be as predictable as possible and see if I can get a little bit more advantage. So now 2 play routes and he's down to 44%. His Scald breaks my Substitute. I'm almost back to full health. I switch out. Then he goes for Recover. So this is a classic example. This Pokemon in front of me, you know, once you tune his values to be like good in hit points and good in defense, as you can see here, he can come out and take a few hits. He takes a few hits, and then as soon as you're like, shoot, I'm not going to win this, you know, race. I can't kill him faster than either he can kill me or he can recover. You have to change it up. And right when you change it up, he recovers. The situation's now slightly different. He has full health though, which basically eliminated all my play rough attacks. But now I have in my grass Pokemon, this thing's called Cherim. I use Sunny Day, which makes my Pokemon go crazy. And sprouts like a flower only in the sun. And then he Heal Bells. I want to resist it with my Psychic Pokemon because he brought out his little Psychic Cat Meowstic. So already he's revealed just about every Pokemon in his team except for this little Pokeball here. And maybe I can help. I don't know if you can see my mouse too clearly, but you know, this is Pokeball over here. I'm going to change colors. Blue pen. I'm going to change thickness. Customize. Thick. It's already thick. Alright. And, you know, right here I have 3 Pokemon that have not been revealed, so right there. He doesn't know what the rest of my team can be, and I decided to conservatively play in these 3, and he's been like popping around all over the place and revealing too much of his information. Every piece of hidden information is good for you to know and your opponent not to know, so even if it's not revealing a certain attack, not revealing that you have a certain item, or not revealing that you have a certain Pokemon in this case because your team's hidden, super important. So he Psychics, and that's exactly what I wanted, to resist it, and I want to Psyshock him back. And I was like, oh, that's not doing a lot of damage. He's not doing a lot of damage to me, but I am not doing a lot of damage to it. And it has leftovers right here. And I have leftovers. So even if we do a little bit of damage, we're both going to be healing, and this is going to take a long time. So here's where I'm like, who's going to break first? I'm going to go back into my Dancing Flower Paddle here. It takes a good hit. And then he's going to switch out to his Tropius because I'm a plant type and I Giga Drain. It doesn't do anything. Tropius quad resists Giga Drain because he's a flying type and a grass type. And then after that, he automatically has his berry activated. So how can I best demonstrate this. This is so kind of on the fly here, but let me grab this tool again. Oh, okay. So this Pokemon beats, I don't know. Oh yeah, this Pokemon like handily one hit beats this dude. But this dude, where's my red pen? This dude, I need to make this thick. No, it's supposed to be red. Red pen, customize. Okay. This dude can fully resist attacks from this dude. And that forces me to switch. So then I go back to blue. This dude, whatever, can pretty much attack nothing too hard, but it can basically attack this dude or this dude, these little psychic types, but it's not going to be too strong. And then this, my little here, this guy can, it stalemates with this Pokemon here, so like stalemate, like that, whatever that means. And this Pokemon beats this Pokemon. So if you kind of look at the arrows, I've got like two arrows and one Clash that trades, and he's got 2 arrows, and yeah, 2 arrows that kind of beat mine. So that's where we've entered the loop, right? It's all about who's going to switch in, and we can do a lot of these switches on reactions. Like right when he brings out that, I'm going to bring out this. Right when he brings out this, I'm going to bring out that. And this is where you're like, okay, well, if we kind of know what each other's best safe moves are, how are we going to play around it? And you'll see here. He's healing automatically because that's his ability. I pop out the secret hidden power ice. He's quad resists grass, but he's quad weak to ice. That's why it's really cool to have a hidden power that throws your opponent off guard, because it can be any attacking type and they just can't know. He leech sees, but I'm a grass type. He gets his berries back and almost heals right back to the damage that he was. So unless you can kill Tropius, which he's not that strong, but if you don't have the right moves, you don't have the right moves. He's going to keep healing, and in the sun, he heals even better. So then I use Weather Ball, and Weather Ball's a fire attack because I'm in the hot sun, and he died. I'm like, okay, so having those surprising attacks helps. I Weather Ball this thing, and it takes a good chunk of damage, but then he dropped my special defense, and then the sun went away, and I turned back into a normal flower. So I popped the sun back up, and that also increases my speed, but not fast enough. So we traded Pokemon. He lost his Tropius. I lost my plant. My plant surprisingly could beat the Tropius. That was what the surprise move was. But now I can't really beat his little Quagsire, this little blue guy here, very well. So he's just gonna keep firing off attacks, and it's kind of annoying sometimes when all they do is just fire off attacks, because like right here, his psychic attack has a small chance, like a 33% chance to lower my special defense right here. Right here. That means even if the first attack left me with a little bit above half health, the second one would kill me. But he's clearly going to kill me in 2 hits. So I'm like, I want to keep my Emolga alive. And here's that switch again. My psychic type against its psychic type. This is the trade, the stalemate. But let's see what happens next. So he gets out first. Last time I got out first. The best part about me staying in is I get leftovers. So his Quagsire may be a pretty good defense to wipe out my advantage. And that is why it's super important to keep your Pokemon secret. He didn't know I had a Gengar. And I switched in on his supposed attack. And he didn't Earthquake because the Pokemon I kept out had Levitate. And when you're floating above the ground, you can't be hit by ground attacks. So I knew he wasn't going to think, let me just randomly Earthquake, because that would have been bad for him. So I hedged my bets, switched out this Pokemon that's, he's weak physically, he's got decent special defense, but it's in the sun, and any water attack in the sun's already weakened. So I took a hit and saved some hit points by doing that, by setting that all up, using the he beats this, I beat this, he beats this, I beat this, and then we trade, and I knew that was going to happen. So instead of switching on the trade, I let him think he had the advantage, and I got this Gengar out. And then I switched into Conkeldurr after that, because I figured he was going to switch to try to beat my Gengar. And this Conkeldurr is a strong physical attacker, and my Gengar was a strong special attacker. So basically, I switched 3 times in a row. I lost my Cherim, switched out to Emolga, switched out to the Psychic type Mesprit, switched out into Gengar, and then switched out into Conkeldurr. And like I remember a long time ago when I thought switching was like not the right way to play Pokemon, because I based my entire philosophy and playstyle off watching the anime in which they didn't switch at all, and Ash was a freaking cheater. He wasn't really cheating in the first season, but he learned to cheat. So in my mind, when I was a kid, I'm like, no, you stay out with the Pokemon. You 1v1 things, fighting games, samurai style, which is not good. So clearly switching is one of the core moves that you can do in Pokemon. It both allows you to try to make a read on your opponent and also play to all the Pokemon's unique sort of offensive and defensive abilities, right? Sometimes you switch knowing that you can resist the hit, but sometimes that forces you to heal afterwards to kind of nullify that hit you took. Or sometimes your Pokemon's just really good at resisting it. Sometimes you switch in onto a normal attack and you're a ghost and you fully are immune. And then sometimes you switch in to get your ability activated, like Sunlight or Intimidate, which drops their attack. Like so many different things. There's a bunch of reasons. And you got to find the situations yourself, recognize them in battle, and then pull them off. So I just switched a bunch of times. And I'm like, the old me would have never done that, but now it just feels so right. And then he used Heal Bell. Nobody on his team was status. I knock off its leftovers, and then I go back into Slurpuff, my first Pokemon. He tried to protect, but since when you switch, there's nothing to protect, so it didn't work. And now I'm back to full health with this little Puffball. I substitute again. He breaks it. Sometimes you're like, can you break it with one hit? Usually most Pokemon can, so you don't want to sub down too much. You're just losing your own health. So he uses Wish, and I knew he was going to protect. I was like, bad move. I already showed you I have Substitute. And I have so much health, I can gamble on you even attacking that turn and me losing just 25% of my health. You can't be that chicken. Like, I don't think I could have even killed him, right? My return did 23% last time right here, and he had 30 health left. So unless that was like the lowest roll possible and then I got the highest roll, he didn't need to protect right here. But that was like, oh no, amateur hour. And then I start play roughing without fear, because now he's got to break the sub again. And now I figured I keep attacking because I just spooked him into not protecting, and now he's low again. But as you can see, out of all that playing around, I essentially lost 20%, 19%. I think Vaporeon lost about 20%. So you're like, wow, that was a lot of dancing for nothing. So then I set up patterns to try to break them. I want him to Scald. He burned me. So now my physical attacks are even worse. That's always a chance you take with attacks that have a chance to do something. Scald can randomly burn you 30% of the time. And when you're burned, you take a little damage every turn, but your physical attack power is also halved. So even when we were playing that little race before of like who's gonna use the attacks and protect, now I'm completely out. So I tried to burn him just for fun. I want him to kill me now. Kill me now. He protects, and I knew he was gonna get his health back. So I'm like, okay, whatever. That spirit died. He didn't want to protect, and now his Vaporeon's kind of staring me down. So here's the crazy part. I switch out my Gengar, and I Mega Evolved. I didn't reveal I was also a Mega Gengar too, because you never know in random battles. It could be anything. And we could use some more light in here. Hold on. More light. Okay, so he didn't know I was a Mega Gengar, and now Gengar, I told you before, has pretty decent special defense, so I disable his freaking Scald move. So Gengar's really fast, and he's pretty strong, and he's kind of broken. But the thing in random battles is all the Pokemon pretty much play with each other because they adjust the level value. So I'm fighting a level 81 Vaporeon. I'm a level 73 Gengar. The difference that 10 or so levels makes is the difference of about roughly, 20 to 40 points. And 20 to 40 points is enough of a stat difference to take a Pokemon from one tier to another, up or down or whatever. So that has a pretty dramatic effect on the battle. Even though most of the things that we're doing are dynamic, like the moves that we have and the abilities that we have access to, adjusting the levels really helps. So right here he protects, and then I taunt. He protected it, but I'm like, you can't protect twice very reliably, so I'm going to taunt again. Now you're disabled and taunted. And you're like, what are you going to do now? Even though my Gengar is slowly burning to death, and even though Gengar is a strong attacker, I'm using his more subtle and unique abilities to fight a almost fully health Pokemon. Then I Sludge Wave. And he struggles because he has no more moves he can do. He can't do he has one attacking move. I didn't know that before, but if you think about it, he has Scald, Protect, Wish, and what is the last one? Is it Toxic or something? But by taunting him, he can only attack, and by disabling his attack, now he has no moves, and he's forced to struggle. And because I'm Gengar, he has the ability called Shadow Tag, which means your opponent can't switch out. So I basically, in 3 moves, locked out every single thing he can do. You can't switch, you can't use your special moves, and you can't attack me. So struggle. And struggle's just a last resort move they program into the game. It hurts ghost types even though it's a normal type move, and it does massive damage to you when you struggle. So look at Vaporeon here. Disable ended, but then I Sludge Wave and kill it. Doesn't matter. I'm like, that was crazy. And then I'm pretty sure I'm faster than this piece of junk. You die. Oh, survived. And then I died. So look at the difference this made. 3%. Now, when you switch into Stealth Rocks, I think you take 12% of your life, maybe like 8% of your life down, something like that. Like a little chunk. If this Pokemon, if I ever threatened him enough to get this Pokemon in and out one more time, that would have been the difference maker of Gengar being alive or dead, because this little chunk matters. And then he leftovers, right? So, like, oh, okay. Emolga's pretty fast. I use an air move, obviously, because he has a ground Pokemon to fully resist my electric. And I just give him another air slash and finish him off. This is a Life Orb Emolga. What a weird set, but I'm using it to the best of my abilities. He Psychics me because this thing is also fast. It's a little fast cat that stares at you. I bring in my Pokemon here, barely survive that. Oh my gosh, and just get a tiny little return off. And then I'm still alive. I'm like, no, I probably shouldn't be alive because he's getting leftovers every turn. Right? So now he's at 26 health. Let's go back a few turns. So I come out, he's at 27 health. And because I survived by a little bit, I almost gave him more health starting than when I started, but now he's at 26. That's 1% less. Maybe that was my Mach Punch. He's Psychic. Psychic is super effective on my fighting type, but Mach Punch is the fastest move I can do. Because this Pokemon right here is really slow. He's kind of bulky, as you can see, so he can take a hit, maybe. This Pokemon I'm fighting is not too strong, so I barely survived that one super effective hit. And then I'm using a move that's not too strong, but it's fast. And this Pokemon has, like, he's all in at this point. I've locked myself into one attack because I have an item that just forces me to attack. So then I punch. Like, that was such a careful calculation. And then this guy switches down the rocks and I barely win. So that battle, yeah, is very close. Very close battle. Weird Pokemon. No one would ever make a team with these weirdos. No one would ever see Mega Gengar teaming up with a Surpluff like that, or a Cherim for that matter. But the ability to go into the battle and be like, what do we got? What's happening? The fact that this Tropius took advantage of my sunlight to get more berries to feed himself, to basically heal himself automatically at the end of that turn, it's pretty crazy. So, yeah, like that battle had a ton. Information withholding, surprise kills, momentum breakings, 4 switches in a row for quadruple switch, and like a surprising way to take out a Pokemon by disabling them instead of directly attacking them for the most part. Yeah, that battle was pretty great, especially for a random battle, right? Like none of these teams have intentional synergy. They're just thrown together and you deal with it. So to have that cool of a battle come out and be that close with these goofballs, that's kind of a testament to what Pokemon is. Like, I know these sets are made by people and like randomly shuffled around what Pokemon and what set they'll have, but still, it's quite random. take a look at this replay. Let's music off. Let's learn our lesson. Let's zoom in. Let's see if we can. So let's switch sides. Where is that? How do I switch sides? I'll just reload it. Maybe switch sides after you play. And I didn't learn my lesson. Switch sides here. Okay. Oh. Pause. Last turn. Play. Okay, so the first turn, he brings out a monkey. And I'm like, these monkeys are fast. There's a grass type, a fire type, and a water type. They came out with black and white. They were the game's way of giving you a Pokemon that's not the type that you picked at the beginning. So you can learn the whole like weakness resistance triangle and learn to switch in Pokemon. So they made them kind of weak defensively, but fast and hit hard. They can hit pretty hard. So you're supposed to be like, you need to switch these weak monkeys in when you know your opponent's going to use a certain attack. And trying to teach kids the basics, trying to teach adults the basics. That's where this monkey comes from, Simisear. Simeon and Pansear and all that cool fun puns. I have a Pokemon that's rock water at quad resist fire. So like he can't touch me with fire basically, whether it's special or physical or whatever. So he switches out and then I use liquidation to try to get some early damage. Liquidation's a pretty strong physical water move. Oh, what a nice battler. Good luck, have fun. I mean that sincerely, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hopefully I didn't act like a rude internet player. We'll see. Switch at Hippowdon. He's probably going to do that thing. So, like, a lot of Pokemon in this random battles are built with sets that are not mindful of other people on your team to build synergy because you don't know who else is going to be on your team. So they give a lot of Pokemon Life Orb, which gives them just extra attack. They give a lot of Pokemon like Toxic, because if you can't really hurt the other Pokemon, maybe you can poison it, and that's pretty good. Then they give more so than normal a lot of Pokemon Substitute. So this guy is a Substitute. I'm like, okay, Superpower. So this Pokemon, Malamar, look at that. Superpower is a physical move that when used, it's supposed to make you weaker because you like, you know, power up and attack. It's strong. It's fighting type move. This Pokemon's a Dark Psychic, so it's not going to be as strong if you were a fighting type. But this Pokemon has an ability called like Topsy-Turvy or whatever. And as you can see, it's like literally a squid turned upside down. And you know, the squids have a beak underneath their tentacles. It's a sharp like bird beak type appendage that they eat with. So they gave this the beak in front of it, and they basically made the tentacles arms and hair. What a cool design. You actually evolve this Pokemon on the DS by turning your DS upside down. I guess it's a 3DS because that's motion controls. And then the Pokemon, when it's at the right level, senses it's upside down and evolves into this dude. It's so freaking cool. So, because, you know, this whole Pokemon's all about being upside down, they gave it an ability where if your stats drop, they actually raise. And if your stats are supposed to raise, they actually drop or something like that. And that's what he did. He's using a very quirky strategy where he's like, instead of getting weaker, I'm getting stronger. Kind of dangerous. But I have Whirlwind, and I blow him out of the match. My Hippowdon, my little hippo here, is so unique. It's got Whirlwind, and it can blow people no matter if they're behind a sub, no matter if they are powered up or whatever. Like, just randomly switches them with another one of the opponent's Pokemon. So I'm like, yeah, Whirlwind's so cool, and I use it again. And then he switches out this pink cat, Espeon. This Pokemon has the ability to take any special move like Toxic, Thunder Wave, Leech Seed, and Whirlwind and just bounce it back like Gohan fighting Vegeta in the original season of Dragon Ball Z. And I Whirlwind myself. I'm like, oh, this battle's so interesting. So now I have a random Pokemon out that I didn't want. And he intentionally switched into that Espeon, the pink cat. So now look, 5 out of the 6 Pokemon of his are scouted because of Whirlwind and because he did that cool strat. Again, 3 out of the 6 on mine are scouted, right? So I'll draw some shapes for you. 3 versus 5. It's just like last battle. And now I know his typings, and I know a little bit about what he can do to me, and he only knows half of what I can do to him. So I use U-turn. Does a good chunk to this ice face, and I bring out Pukumuku. Now this Pokemon is a sea cucumber, and as you might imagine, sea cucumbers are not the best attacking types. In fact, sea cucumbers can't really attack anything in real life. So, in this game, they made this Pokemon have 0 attacks. You cannot give it any attacks. It can only have Toxic if it wants to directly hurt the opposing Pokemon. And I think it may learn Counter, which means you have to get hit and kind of reflect damage back on it. But you can't really do anything but weird, like, non-direct attacking things. So I'm like, okay, I got a Pukumuku. And I reveal it here. He thinks I'm going to use like Toxic or something, because like I said, Pukumuku can't really hurt things, but this particular set doesn't have it. I have a Light Screen, which puts up a barrier on my side of the field, and then I have Reflect. Ah, this is super annoying. If a Pokemon ever brings out both of these and they have a special item called Light Clay, these shields are going to stay up for like 7 turns total and have either physical or special attacks coming in. And because I put up both types of shields, it's basically any damage that comes in gets cut in half for 7 turns. That's a big deal. He recognized that immediately. He brought out his little dragon. Now I know his final Pokemon is Komodo. It's dragon fighting. But he's like, oh shoot, the shields are up, and he has to do some evasive actions, and this is what he does. I'm like, time to take advantage of my stuff. So I switch into Hippo. And he subs, and I'm like, Whirl Earthquake. I'm like, I'm not letting you sub up. And he's subbing to buy turns because he really doesn't want these screens up, so he's got to wait. So he's playing defensively. He's switching to this little Wormadam. It's like I forgot what kind of worm, but it has Protect, so that even wastes another turn. So I smack it. I'm like, stop doing that. I still have my shields up, and then he just throws up Stealth Rocks, which doesn't rely on hurting your opponent. It's just a setup move. And then he's going to Protect. And I miss. And he throws up Stealth Rocks again for some reason. I think he thought he was certainly going to die there. I don't know why he didn't Protect. But then he gets lucky because I miss. And then he protects this turn. No, Toxic. Wow. So this Pokemon has Protect, Toxic, Stealth Rock, and something else. So he successfully stalled out my screen turns, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to put him back up if you're going to bring out this Pokemon that can't really hurt me. And he threw out Toxic. I'm like, all right, not too bad, though. I'm going to just do the same thing to you. Reflect and Light Screen. And he subs. I was like, okay, it's like the same situation we were just in. Let me draw the lines because this is super interesting. Let's see if I can make these lines a little more coherent this time. Red pin, custom pin. Okay. This guy never came out since the beginning. This guy can take any Pokemon he brings out and whisk them away with Whirlwind. So we're just going to do this. Except for against this guy, right? This guy comes out and likes to stall using Substitute against this guy. This guy likes to come out and set up screens so he can set up another Pokemon, which so far I've only revealed 2 others, or whatever. And last time I brought out Hippo. So Hippo beats this guy because he's physically defensive and can Whirlwind its best trick, which is, you know, using superpower and getting stronger instead of weaker. But kind of gets countered automatically by that guy, and this guy can come out against this guy or this guy and kind of like resist the hits and just use Protect and stall it out. So some of the main factors we're negotiating here, I'll do a blue pin, is this guy's about setup. I'm gonna put an S. This guy's about, and he wants to buy time. I'm gonna put a little clock. This guy counters time. Put a clock. And this guy needs his setup. This guy stops the setup. I'm gonna put a stop sign. And this guy this guy just comes out and does damage to whoever else falsely switches out there. So you can kind of see the battle we're fighting over typing, attacking power, time with these shields. And while we do that, we're trying to put pressure on the other person by having these unique setups. I have screens, he has rocks and substitutes and protects. So we'll see how it plays out. Shadow Ball. Alright, didn't do almost any damage because my screens are up. I tried to counter, so apparently he has a special attacking move instead of physical, because obviously you should just know that this cat is all about special attacks. It's not a surprise. And I'm about to die, so I'm like, I'm about to die. He tried to sub again. I just recover. I'm like, I'm going to buy myself a little bit more time because he thought I was going to be dead that turn. And now I'm going to switch out instead of letting my Pokemon die. And he Morning Suns. And the Morning Sun is a move that it heals you, but it doesn't heal you that much if you're in sand. It heals him up to max, but let's just pretend like he was weaker. That'd have been such a cool play. Like, you think you're going to heal? Like, yeah, sky's filled with sand. But it didn't happen, so whatever. There's so many cool things that could have happened. Shadow Ball, so like that's not a lot of damage. And I Whirlwind, but I forgot. Back to Pukamuka, I'm like, alright, now I have one more turn left to live, but I reset my Toxic counter. So then he just kills me. I'm like, fine. And it's out, and it barely did any damage to him. That's alright. Now I bring out this monkey, and this monkey has multi-hitting attacks. Multi-hitting attacks would have punched through the substitute first and then kept punching because they're multi-hitting, which is why I brought out Monkey. He brought out this stupid bug, so I just kill it. 3 hits. Okay, so now our little dance is broken. He just sacrificed almost useless bug. All that thing was doing was stalling anyway. The reason why it was stalling is because I had my other Pokemon alive, so now those 2 dynamic factors are eliminated. And now I have rocks on my side of the field, which I'm taking damage every time I switch. So he kind of got a decent advantage out of all that craziness. We're in turn 23. A lot of matches just go to turn 35-ish. So we're kind of well deep into this game, and not a lot of Pokemon have died, which is so surprising, right? Because you think, if this is a game where all you do is just hyper offense and attack, and whoever has the stronger Pokemon wins, but it's clearly not about just attacking. Like, all this dancing we're doing is because Double Blind and the typing system for this game works for both offense and defense. And there's a whole set of moves that have nothing to do with either direct attacking or directly boosting your defense. So there's these setup moves. So we're negotiating all that with these weird Pokemon that the game randomly gave us. But you can see the strategies and the patterns start to emerge. And now this Komodo popped back out. This is a fighting dragon. And he popped out before, but I had screens up. And right when he saw I had screens up, he left. So let's pretend like we know what that means. If I'm a player and I see a power threat like this pop out, and then he leaves because of some defensive bonus I have, I know this guy's an offensive dude. Should be an offensive dude, but I know what he's going to do. So he freaking Dragon Dances, which is a move that increases his speed and attack. But I bring out the Hippo because he knows I'm going to Whirlwind him. Such a unique set. I have such a unique tool for fighting his crazy Malamar and his crazy setup Pokemon. But then, I force him to Whirlwind me out. Not the worst thing in the world. Go back into my cool Carcosta. And I Shell Smash. This is another scary move. Lowers my speed, both my defenses, but ups my speed and both my attacks. And with this item that he consumes, it takes away my negative for lowering. No, I actually don't have the item. So now I'm just strong. This Pokemon with 1 turn, if you just get 1 turn, you can be just strong. But then his Pokemon's a dragon, so he resists water. And then he used his Z move and freaking destroyed me. And then his Z move gives him all these boosts, right? Now he gets plus 1.5 to his attack power and defense and special attack and special defense and speed. That move, there's nothing like that in the entire game. It's very unique, and he can only use it once because it was a Z move, which was the new thing they added to a Pokemon Sun and Moon. So yeah, I lost my advantage chip, and he traded his weird Malamar, which wasn't doing that well for him. Wasn't doing that much for him, and now he's got this like jerk out here. But I kept my Hippo healthy, so I bring it in, and he does as much damage as he can, but it's just not enough. and I just say, get out of here. Because if I didn't whirlwind him out right there, I would have lost the game, certainly. Because that Pokemon is strong. Brings this guy back out. I no longer have my guy that quad resists fire. So what do? Bring out my guy that quad resists fire. Let's go. So he grass knots, and he quad resists grass as well. Dragon types resist fire, water, electric, and grass. Is that it? Cool. And he's also fire type, and fire resists grass. So whether you used a grass move or a fire move, I came out on top. And this is why it's important to keep some of these bargaining chips secret. If he had known that, he probably wouldn't have sacrificed Komodo like he did, or switched it out or something. Who knows what he would have done. Again, the whole substitute thing, trying to buy him time, but I have a move that hits fire types. It's called Stone Edge. It can miss, but he didn't want to try to fish for a miss. And then I freaking read. That's the read of the game right there. He should have stayed in with Monkey and fished for a miss. If he kept subbing, he had like 3 more chances to sub down without fully killing himself. My Stone Edge move is 80% accurate, I think. So I had a decent chance to miss, especially on a repeat. That Monkey's not going to be doing anything else for him the entire game, and he sacrificed a huge bargaining chip, which is a dragon. And dragons are super effective on dragons, so like he needed that to fight this thing. And he switched it in just when he thought I was going to double rock. Because the dragon he switched in would resist rock, which is like, oh, I know what you want to do. So I just switched to a dragon move and eliminated him. And now he has ice, and then I just burn him. You know, Ice Beam would have done more damage to me, but I'm a fire type, so instead of being weak to ice, being a dragon, it's just neutral. And then Dragon Pulse again, because I'm like, why not? And the Fire Blast, Quad Resist, almost does no damage. Dragon Pulse. And Side Shot kills me. Yeah, this little cat is pretty fast. Espeon. And then I just smack it with a U-turn. Super effective. Go back out into this thing. Get some chip damage with the sand raging like that. Sacrifice Hippo for the last time. He gets a little bit from that. I know he can't Morning Sun very well because he's in the sand. He switches out trying to preserve it anyway. I U-turn. Doesn't matter. He dies. I go back into this Pokemon. The Pokemon I never revealed. It's strong enough to take out lots of the Pokemon on this team. Psyshock resisted. Wins the game. So again, another great battle. That battle has such an interesting initial scouting, and then not really a stalemate, but a cool loop. And then the loop, we learn more and more about each other's play style. And another cool thing about a loop is if you stay in the loop, there's a good chance you don't have anything better to do, because if you're playing optimally or to the best of your ability, you're probably trying to win at all times instead of let me just play in this loop for 10 turns and then be serious like some kind of goofball anime character. So I could kind of get a sense that what he had in the back was not that good. And especially after seeing all 5 of his Pokemon at the beginning, he didn't even know I had a Magneton. I stayed in the loop because I thought I could get some kind of advantage. And even though it looked like he got a little advantage out of the loop by basically killing my water dude and bringing out the dragon, I'm like, no. I have Hippo and I got this guy. And eventually that's set up for one read. Because I was confident in my guys in the back and confident in my strategy, I didn't have to feel like I had to make any crazy guesses or crazy switches. I banked on something that I knew. And since he was all oh shoot, I gotta make a play to get back in this, I was like, Dragon Pulse, shoot you in the face. And you just really get a sense of what your opponent's thinking and what they do by 30 moves or so. So that was another great example of an interesting and unique set of counters with screens and whirlwind and sand and substitutes and protect. Cool stuff. So here's our last video. If anyone in the chat has questions, let me know. I'm just going over some of the strategy in this game, trying to draw goofy lines to let you know what's happening, because I don't have a better way of showing you all this complexity unless I explain it or whatever. Music off, learn our lesson, hit play, pause it, switch sides. Okay. So the first thing I do is set up Rain Dance. My Pokemon is Water Dragon. That means he's neutral to grass instead of resisting it or being weak to it. It's just normal hits, normal damage. But when I set up the rain, I have the ability that just instantly doubles my speed if it's raining, which makes me quite a threat. He threw Leech Seed on me, which is a great move to just slowly whittle away the health of any opposing Pokemon that's not a grass type and give you their health back. So it's quite a powerful move. It really makes grass Pokemon a thorn in the side of the meta, if you will. And that's what his opening move is. I'm like, interesting. So I switch out because I don't want my health drain, and he freaking throws up these spikes. And then he got out of there. So spikes are like stealth rocks. They stay on the field, and every time you switch in, you take damage if you're not a flying type. This bug here is a flying type, so next time I switch in, I won't have to worry. But he brings in a rock type, and rock quad attacks, bug flying. Just a single rock hit's probably gonna kill me. I know that. He knows that. He's probably gonna. But then I substitute. No, actually, he switched out on my substitute, and then I go for a hurricane. He resisted, but he's confused. Okay, so here's what happened. I'm kind of pausing it oddly, so you're not getting a sense of what the simultaneous turns are. So I'll go back right here. He switched out, and then I substitute on that turn, and that gives me one solid hit instead of dying. So he breaks the sub, and I use Hurricane. In the rain, Hurricane's 100% instead of 70, and it has a good chance of confusing. When he's confused, he has like a 1 in 4 chance of hitting himself. But I'm not going to bank on that. This Pokemon I'm fighting probably has Swift Swim, which means in the rain, he doubles in speed. I had no idea he had this Pokemon until now, and this is kind of dangerous. So I bring out this Persian right here. This is a cool looking cat, evolution of Meowth in the Alolan region. It looks a little funny, like a weird Garfield. But I should turn on another light. So this Pokemon has the ability called Fur Coat, and it just means that physical damage coming into it is reduced by like a chunk. So you can be even more defensive than what your stats say. And I'm like, well, this Kabutops I'm fighting is physical attacker. It's made out of rock. He's a rock water type. Yeah, he. I want to switch out something that can decently defend, so I switch out this cat. And he hit himself with a confusion anyway. I'm like, cool, I banked on that. And then I hypnosis and I miss, and his confusion ended, and he hits me with a Stone Edge and he crits. And I'm like, oh man, why? Stone Edge has a high chance of critting, so I Dark Pulse him, and then he Stone Edges me again. That's how much damage you should have done the first time instead of 50%. Should have done 20, it should have done 30%, but you know, crits are a thing, and that move has a higher crit chance, so I'm playing with fire. And then I hypnosis, put him to sleep. That move has a 50% chance of hitting, but I banked on it because I was like, I don't care. I Nasty Plot, which boosts my attack, and I'm slowly getting health back because of leftovers, and then I Dark Pulse and kill him. He should have switched out because now I get to put another Pokemon to sleep, because when we in this particular tournament scene in meta, you can only have one of your opposing Pokemon put to sleep by your team, but if you kill it, you can put another one to sleep. He shouldn't have just stayed out and sacked that thing. Almost everyone knows to switch it out so that they can not have their entire team put to sleep. I put this guy to sleep. I took the chance, 50%. I was like, whatever, let's go. And now he's asleep. And I'm still getting leftovers health. So then I switched to this tiny little Plusle, and he's still asleep. So I substitute, why not? He woke up and he tries to Leech Seed, bad move. Again, just like the toxic play before, in this entire random battles meta, a lot more Pokemon have substitute. So banking on your ability to use Leech Seed or toxic is not the best. Hidden Power. He didn't know I had Hidden Power Ice. So now he Drain Punches and gets a little health back because that's what Drain Punch does. It punches him and gives you a little health of that damage back. So then I Encore it and say, punch me again. Nearly kills me. But now I know he can only do that one punch. That's what Encore does. It says the move that you last did, you do it again and again and again, at least 2 or 3 times. So now I have a small window where I'm like, I know you can only punch. Let me switch this Pokemon out to something that quad resists punching. And he knew I was going to switch, so then he switched. But that's fine by me because I'm not getting attacked. I sub again. He Trick Rooms. Okay, here's where things get tricky. Trick Room is a field effect that affects everyone. For 4 turns, The slower Pokemon goes first, and the faster Pokemon goes second. And that's basically how it works. Him having Trick Room, Necrozma, means that it's a slow Pokemon, and my Pokemon's fast. But I'm going to try to stall out the turns with Substitute. So he Power Gems, which Quad would kill me in one hit. So I Substitute again, anticipating that. And I'm going to Substitute again, anticipating his next break. I'm like, cool, he's got fewer and fewer turns if I keep this up. And he Power Gems again. I'm like, okay. I'm killing myself, but I'm wearing out these turns, and here's where I make my move. Quiver Dance. So the last sub he broke, I Quiver Dance on that turn because I can't make another sub anyway. This increases my speed, my special attack, and my special defense. But in Trick Room, you don't want speed. You want to be slower. But I think I timed it just right till the Trick Room ended. Yeah, let's go. And now I'm fast, strong, just a little bit weakened. Bug Buzz didn't do that much damage. He Trick Roomed again. No. So I switch out into Polysand, anticipating his Power Gem. Ground types resist rock types. Making that call right there is dangerous. This thing is a Necrozma. What type is it? I don't know. I don't know some of these new Pokemon. Dark Ghost. I think it has Ghost attacks, so he could. I'm a Ghost Ground. He could have killed me in one hit probably. But I called it. I was like, okay, let's go. And he switched out for whatever. Oh, he switched out because I'm freaking slow. Polysand is like a freaking sandcastle. Of course he's slow. He set up Trick Room, and I switched into a Pokemon on a good read to take advantage of the fact that now I'm going to be the slower Pokemon, which means I'll be first. But then he switched down to this Beaver. Beaverl. So I throw up Stealth Rocks. Not a bad thing to have. He hit me with Liquidation. I'm weak to water, but my ability says whenever you get hit by water, increase your defenses by 2 times. So now I'm stronger, but I'm nearly dead anyway. Wasn't the best. But Protect. And now I'm stalling out. I forgot I was faster. And then the Trick Room went away. I'm like, I could have just hit you, but alright, whatever. I got a little health back. Go Pokemon that Quad resist water. See, I'm taking chip damage, but it's not too bad. Now I do the Rain Dance. Remember this setup? It's freaking now I'm gonna draw my lines. So now look at the setup. I revealed 5 of my Pokemon. He revealed basically 4, and this guy's dead. So even though a lot of my Pokemon are alive, this guy's weak. Hard to use a weak Pokemon, especially when there's this hazard in the field. When I switch it, I'm gonna take damage anyway. I threw up rocks pretty good, so now we both have hazards. This was how our first turn ended up, but now I'm significantly weaker. And he brings in Chestnut, which is full health. I know he has a strong thing in the back. I'm not sure how to take it out yet. And I got to come up with a plan. And after how many turns? So this probably defends against this. This probably defends against, Chestnut. This also beats Chestnut. This. And this kind of trades, so I'll get my red color out. Trades with Chestnut. So whenever Chestnut comes out, I got a bunch of pivot opportunities. I can set up on it. I can use almost any of these Pokemon. This dude's almost dead, and this is just death fodder, so we're going to be like, sad face. Like, you're only used to help me keep my other guys alive. And I still don't know what this is, or this is. So let's see what kind of a plan I make, knowing that the Pokemon he has out now, I can dance on a little bit, but I got to be wary of the unknown. I Outrage. I want damage on this thing. This is a strong move, but I'm locked in. He hits me with Wood Hammer, nearly kills me. That's good because Wood Hammer's a strong move, but you take damage. The more damage you do when you use the attack. So I get 1 more Outrage, which is good. Now I nearly kill him, and then I'm dead. Tried to Drain Punch, but it's too late. Now I send out Pavilion. Substitute. Leafseed again, the same mistake. Was that the other battle? That was this battle. And now I got a free turn with that. I Quiver Dance. He tries to Wood Hammer. I quad resist it. I'm bug flying. I quad resist both his fighting, and I quad resist his grass. And when I use a flying move, he's quad weak to it. This is a terrible matchup for that dude. He should not have stayed in, at least at this point. I quiver dance, and then the rain stops. I'm like, okay, now I can kill this guy. I quiver dance again. I'm like, you can't break my sub. And every turn I get, he broke it in 2 hits. That's fine. Every turn I get a little bit more health back. Exactly 25%. I needed 26% to use another sub. I was banking on another sub. Should have just killed him. No. But then I'm like, wait, do I need a sub? Okay. If he couldn't break my sub, he couldn't do 25 damage. So I just used a raw quiver dance right there. And I'd use another one, because I'm insane. And then he finally Leech Seeds. Like, now it's time to fight. So the thing about Leech Seed is, if you kill the Pokemon in front of you, you don't lose any health from it, because Leech Seed only works if there's a live thing in front of you. I knew that. So I go on the offensive. I'm like, yeah, you die. Didn't lose any more health from the Leech Seed. Next thing comes out, I'm like, you Aqua Jet it, I'm dead. So certain moves in this game have priority. No matter how fast my little Buggo was, that move is going to be faster because it's just on another tier of priority. And he knew that I was in the back, so he's just, you know, letting me power up. But if I got that sub up, if I had the sub in front of me, this would have been a dead Pokemon. And maybe even the next one, that match was 1 percentage point away. It sucks. So I Dark Pulse this little beaver. I'm like, shoot, it's defensive. And he keeps hitting me. So he looks like he's locked in. So then I put it to sleep. Because whenever somebody uses the same move over and over, and it's like a weak variant when he could have easily used a stronger one, you're like, you probably have an item on you that means you can only do that attack until you switch out. It's what we call being choice locked or locked in. It's probably a choice banned because he's a physical attacker. So then I was like, I'm banking on sleep. Let's go. Put him to sleep. I'm like, what do I do with these turns? Passimian comes out. This Pokemon's fast, but I nasty plot anyway because I'm freaking greedy. And I Dark Pulse, and he resists it, and he kills me. So that was kind of a waste. But now I see what Pokemon it brings out, so I can bring out my little thing. I didn't want to click sub there. It was a misclick. No! And here's where the end happens. I misclicked. I didn't even have enough health to sub, so that was terrible. But I'm faster now because I brought out my slow Polysand. I should have done that before. I should have realized what speed I was, and so many mistakes. I'm faster than this thing because he set up the Trick Room, but I couldn't kill it. I was like, come on, no! And if I just didn't take that stupid water attack earlier, that Polysand could have probably destroyed his entire team. So then I kill this monkey with the Psychic. And then I kill his Bibarel because it's sleeping with a Psychic. Or Earth Power, yeah. And then I was like, oh no, it's Kyurem. And then I use Focus Blast. High chance to miss. This move, high chance to miss. But I hit it. And I needed a crit. Because that's what its normal damage was. If I got the crit, it would have killed him. I made way too many mistakes. I should have freaking calculated my leftovers damage better to know I could have subbed. I shouldn't have gotten that greedy against the Chestnut. I should have used my Polysand to hit the Necrozma in the Trick Room earlier. I should have not taken that liquidation hit. Like, so many mistakes, but such a good battle. Yeah, so I like these battles because it shows you, yep, I goofed. It was like 12 a.m. or whatever. It shows you that even in the face of like a sheer buffed up Pokemon, your strategies are still there. Switching in intelligently is still what you need to do. Preserving Pokemon and fighting against the unknown is what you should be doing from turn one. And playing it safe and scouting, and then using that information to make reads. And even though, again, these teams are random, so many interesting situations happen. And the good battles, like the ones that I saved in these replays and showed you, have situations where, like, not just like, oh man, I didn't know that, I died, sacrificed 3 Pokemon because I didn't know that. The good battles are like, okay, what are you going to do about this? Okay, interesting. And then you loop, and then right when you get back into the loop the second time, both people immediately change, and you can tell that the battle is evolving. So yeah, this is a great game. Pokemon's great. Yeah. So that'll be it for talking about Pokemon for a little while. It's E3 week. Join the hype train. Get on. We'll be talking about just what our reactions are to the videos throughout the week. We watched EA earlier today in the Dio Discord, and we talked about it live in the chat. Probably should have streamed that and recorded it, but maybe we'll do a better job of that in the future. Until next time, guys, it's been Dio Live. See ya.